Yeah, Alligator, Volume 11, Alligator in Alignment. Today I'm going to talk about like to feature entertainers from time to time, well, musicians. I don't know how many of you have ever heard the name Leadbelly, but Leadbelly is considered by many to be one of the founding fathers of what we call country music, folk music, and country blues. You don't hear a lot about Leadbelly. Historians sort of dance around him a lot because Leadbelly was a very rough character. First of all, his name was Huddy Leadbelly. He was born in 1888 in Shreveport, Louisiana. He died in 1949. In the time of his life and death, Leadbelly wrote some of the greatest songs in all of America. Leadbelly was a rough character. He had knife scars all over him. He was played in the juke joints and the places in the deep south that had three elements that I always like to talk about. Three elements: whiskey, gambling, and guns. Put those three elements together, you got trouble. According to people who knew Leadbelly, he killed a few people in his life, and he went to prison at least for once for murder. I'd like to do this for you. Here's a song Leadbelly wrote in 1925. He was on the chain gang in Texas for murder. He had his guitar in prison, and he wrote this song. Now, many people have heard this song. It's one of the songs that you'll find on the stages of the Grand Ole Opry, as well as in just about any style of music you find. Last Saturday night, I got married. Me and my wife, you know, we settled down. Now me and my wife, we have parted. I'll take another stroll downtown. Irene, good night. Irene, good night. Night, Irene, good night, Irene. See you in my dream. I asked your mother for you, girl. She said you were too young. Come on, she's 48. Wish to Lord I never seen your face. Wish you never were born. Irene, good night. Leadbelly, Irene, good night. Wrote in prison. Good night, Irene, 1925. Good night, Irene. I'll see you in my dream. Sometimes I live in the country. I was born there. Sometimes I live in town. Here I am. Sometimes I have a great notion, yeah, to jump in the river and drown. Not me. I do. I love her till the sea runs dry. But if Irene turns her back on me, I'll take morphine and die. Excuse me. I don't care what that man wrote in that song. Leadbelly, I disagree with you. I'm not taking morphine and dying for nobody. Here's what I say. Irene, you take the morphine. Leadbelly, born in 1888, died in 1949. Right now, I've been having a lot of instances lately, and they seem to be coming closer and closer, getting more and more, I guess is the way you would put it. And what that is I don't know how many of you out there run into this. Maybe it's just me. But I know the craziest people who have these crazy conspiracy theories about just about everything. Now, me, myself, I've always been sort of on the outside looking in, so to speak. I'll give you an example. When the coronavirus first came, when the pandemic first started, when I heard about it, the first thing I said, I swear, the first thing I thought of when I heard about it, I said to myself, and I said to some friends also, oh heck, here comes the conspiracy theories, okay? I just knew it because, but you know, these things have been around forever. I've seen the end of the world by 25 times and you know, all of these, if something comes through and it's going to kill everybody and blah, 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 blah. But the thing that's getting me now is that sometimes I have friends who I've known for many, many years. And I think I spoke about this earlier in one of my shows. Who just espouse the craziest ideas, you know. Like I said, I was talking with one friend and he's going through all of this crazy stuff, and I said, wait a minute, hold on just a minute, stop. Answer this question for me and that'll tell me how far you're gone. I said, do you think Joe Biden and the Democratic Party running child sex rings and blah, blah, blah? And he says emphatically, yes, I do. Yeah, and very passionate. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. I said, okay, that's it. We don't need to get into this anymore. You've sailed off the end of the earth. We are good friends. We have always been good friends, and we're still friends because I just decided. There's a unfortunate. This entire thing is a lot more serious than what people think it is. I don't know how many of you remember. I'm going to take you through sort of a little timeline here. I don't know how many of you remember, but before the, not the last election, we had the one before. Sometime before the way before the elections, actually, our intelligence department released a report warning Americans that enemies, foreign nations, and those, I guess, inside the United States too, because we can't say that a lot of everything's coming from the outside, although a lot is. We're going to start to sowing this dissent within America, try to divide us along racial lines, and especially try to cast doubt on our electoral system. Now, at that time when I read it, like most people, I really didn't pay it that much attention. Yeah, you know, okay. But then I started noticing as the campaigns were going on that certain aspects of our political system was actually espousing these same things that intelligence warned us about. You know, my goodness. we Americans, and this just breaks my heart to see this huge division in our country. And I love America, and I know many of us do. Most of us do. I hope way more. I mean, everybody should love America, okay? But there seems to be a concerted effort to undermine this free world government that we have. Free information, free, just freedom. And there seems to be, I don't know why. I can understand foreign nations. Our intelligence also told us that lots of bots and all of, I don't even know what a bot is, okay? I know it has something to do with the internet. But anyway, we're going to be coming through the internet from foreign nations, pretending to be either this movement or that side of movement in America, and sowing dissent, coming up with all these false things to get people all worked up and anger. Now, what I can see right now is that it's actually working, and it has been working for some time. And one of the reasons is, of course, I'm not going to get too far into that. Most of us are aware that there were certain elements in our government which was pushing these anti-freedom rhetoric, shall we say. When you call the media the enemy of the people and use the word treason and treason, all of this crazy stuff. I think it was Ben Franklin who said, and I love Uncle Ben. I often quote him as much as I can. But I think he was the one who said, I'm paraphrasing here, that this government that we have come up with, it would be hard for it to be attacked from the outside. And if it was ever to be destroyed, it would be destroyed from the inside. And now I see we have all of the foreign interference coming in, dividing America. But Americans themselves seem to have jumped on the bandwagon themselves. And I don't have to call names. We all know a whole bunch of people. Okay? The internet is a wonderful, wonderful thing. I'm starting to get into it, obviously, because I'm doing this. I've had very little presence on the thing because I saw the great things on the internet, and I saw it also as a cesspool of misinformation and bull. A cesspool. If you remember, sometime back, they had something going on about Hillary Clinton, and the Clintons were running a sex child. I don't know where all this sex child stuff come from, but there's a lot of a sex child ring from out of a pizza parlor in New York. And, it was on the internet, and a whole bunch of people believed it. I heard it from a lot of people, and they even had the address of the place. Dumb thing to do. And I don't know if you remember what happened, but some idiot got in his car and drove from way the hell away from wherever he was with a shotgun and went to this place because he's going to free these children from Hillary, the Clintons, and all of the Democratic child molesters. And he bust into the pizza parlor ready to kill folks. And this whole thing was supposed to have been going on in the basement of the pizza parlor. He gets there. There is no basement. The pizza parlor doesn't even have a basement. And people sort of forgot about that. But I saw that as a warning of things to come. Now we have this, the supermarket shooting in, I think it was New York or someplace. Buffalo, maybe. Maybe I'm getting these things wrong. But anyway, there's so much of that, and it's all built around the same type of thing. And who was it? A senator an American senator, a lady, I forget her name, I had her name someplace. Wendy Rogers, Arizona's senator. When she referred to, when she was asked about what happened, the massacre, this guy goes in and kills people just on a racial basis. Her response was to insinuate that it was the federal government that set it up. How crazy can you get? What is with Americans now where we are willing to defend authoritarian governments? I mean, and some of us go so far as not to defend them, to pretty much aid them, and always blame our government for everything bad. What happened to America? I'm asking America to please come back. Please come back. We've always, in times of, even no matter what's going on, we've always been able to come together as Americans. All of the junk that was going on before the pandemic, and when the pandemic came, as I heard a comedian say, when the pandemic came, I thought the same thing. Okay, here we go. We Americans. This thing is coming. We're going to fight it. We're going to do what we need to do because we Americans, this is a time when we come together like we do. Didn't happen. There were people in our government poo-pooing the thing, causing all of this big divide between mask wearing and not mask wearing and blah, blah, blah. Do your research. The mask was first worn in 1910 for outbreak of the bubonic plague. Up until then, we thought the bubonic plague was by touching animals. But in Asia, they found out it was a airborne disease. So boom, they came up with the mask. And it's been used in every airborne pandemic everywhere in the world ever since. But they only had a couple of times that we had problems with the mask. And it was in 1910 when it was first started. Some guy who was sort of like a politician or somebody who was very popular, had a lot of followers, decided for no apparent reason that anybody could figure out that he was going to be anti-mask. And he talked against wearing the mask for the bubonic plague of all things. Well, it wasn't long before all of his followers were anti-mask. Then all of a sudden, he caught the bubonic plague and died. And his followers were smarter than people are now, because once that happened, they all rushed to get the mask. But anyway, enough of that. It's just an illustration of all of the division that's going on that is really unnecessary. I'm asking America to come back. I wish we would come back and be America again. Let me stop for a moment. I always like to get in a little bit of advertising. If you want to catch me, I don't know if you want to catch me. I mean, what the hell are you going to do with me once you do? But anyway, if you want to catch a performance, every second Saturday of the month, if you're in Monterey, drop into the Bonton Elroy's Lighthouse Smokehouse on Lighthouse Avenue. I think I always get the name wrong, but you'll be able to find it. It may be Bonton Elroy's or Elroy's Bonton, but on Lighthouse Avenue every second Saturday of the month. I'm there from 7 to 10. We always have a great time. Sometimes it's a big crowd, sometimes it's a small crowd, but we always have a good time. And I'm also the Tall Man Hotel in Upper Lake. I'm there from time to time at the Blue Wing Saloon. If you know anything about the Tall Man Hotel, historic hotel, the Blue Wing Saloon is just an old time, almost like Smiley's in Berlin. It's an old time bar that's been there forever. And speaking of Smiley's, if any of you know where Smiley's is, it's on the historic register of the country as a historic old drinking establishment. It's in the town of Bolinas, and you've heard me talk about Bolinas before. It's my favorite bohemian community. I will be there. Me and from my Rhythm Outlaws band, my saxophone player Tony Della Valle, who lives in Bolinas himself, will be at Smiley's Saloon June 5th. We will be outside on the patio from 3 to 6. If you're over in Marin County, drop on over the mountain or take the way around through Fairfax and come on in and catch the show. Another thing I want to say before I wrap this up is, remember, we need to do one thing. We need to vote. We need to vote. If you know people who don't vote, it's time to start working on them is right now. Because that old stigma that my vote doesn't count is dissolving. And people are waking up that, yes, my vote does count. Please talk to anybody who you know who doesn't vote and explain to them how the vote is one of the wheels of democracy. And if you don't participate, it's not a smooth ride. In fact, people who you don't want in office will always be in office because you don't vote. Give it a try. Right now, what I'm going to do for you, because I just want to say one more time. All of you people who have all these conspiracy theories and all this stuff, here's what I want to see. How do people like that who are nuts? Well, you know, I don't like to call people nuts. Let's just say who have such far out, obviously untrue views. I'll give you an example. The woman, I watched a hearing of her, Marjorie Tower Green, or whatever her name is. I guess she's a senator, some part of our government, and a QAnon supporter. If you know anything about QAnon, it's like, okay. And I don't blame people for following a lot of these things, because as I explained, I did a weird thing in the late 60s and early 70s doing a religion that I was involved in. I had my own temple and did the priest thing, okay? And the thing was, it didn't take me very long before I had many, I'm not even going to quote numbers or names, people who, if you talk to them, stop them on the streets of New Orleans and ask them a question, something deep, they would always say, well, Alligator says, bleep, 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 Alligator says, blah, Alligator says. It was like, the other people were the same way, Tony Alamo and all of the other people. And I saw how easy it was to get people to follow a Pied Piper. And the reason that I gave that up was I like I explained earlier, one day I looked around at myself and I realized I've got all these people being vegetarians and doing all this stuff. And me and my pals are slipping off down the Canal Street. They just opened a place, I think it was 1972, called Popeye's Chicken, the very first one, on Canal Street. We were down there eating fried chicken, drinking whiskey, doing all kinds of drugs. But anyway, to make a long story short, I looked at it one day and I said, you know what, this is just wrong. And I didn't say anything. I left and I didn't come back to that area for 15, 20 years. So I know how easy it is to get people to follow crazy stuff. You know what I mean? I wasn't doing crazy stuff, but it's just really easy. And I want people to do one thing: start fact-checking stuff. Please fact-check. I have friends come to me and say crazy stuff, and I sit down and calmly show them factually where they're absolutely wrong. Where they're just undeniably wrong. But you know what? When someone has invested so much, it's like money. When someone has invested so much in a certain theme or a certain thing, you can bring them to the truth and they will admit it for a while, but then if you see them 2 or 3 weeks later, they'll be back saying the same thing. So I don't know what to do about this, except we got to do something, okay? Anyway, enough of that. One thing that I was discussing with some friends of mine, with my brother especially, he's a priest, was how many of the evangelical crowd are sort of, shall I say, wandering down the wrong path, as I see it. Okay, now who am I? But anyway, I'm gonna do this little thing here, just because I always love gospel music, always have. When you have trouble, don't cry. Remember, God is standing by. When disappointment, Lord, they'll find you by and by. Don't you worry, don't feel discouraged, and don't you cry. Don't you worry, don't feel discouraged, don't you cry. Remember, God is standing by. So hush, little baby, please don't cry. God is standing by. Don't you worry, don't feel discouraged, don't you cry. Don't you worry, don't feel discouraged, don't you cry. Anyway, my theme today is please Let's go back to facts. Let's take that word. What do they use? I don't have to say they. I mean, what is used? Fake news. Fake news has become a word that's used to shove aside anything you disagree with or anything you don't want to hear. I watched the Marjorie Taylor Greene thing that they did when they were trying to get her to speak. And people are making a mockery of our legal system. Because all I heard over and over again, 40, 50 times, I don't recall, I don't remember, I don't recall, I don't remember. My attitude is, you shouldn't ever be qualified for office, for any office, because you can't remember anything. You don't remember anything. When you're saying over and over, I don't recall, I don't remember, I don't recall, what you're doing is you're under oath and you're sitting there lying with a smirk on your face, making a mockery of our legal system. You're just sitting there lying. If your memory is like that, you shouldn't be in office for anything. I mean, face it. But anyway, enough of that. God is standing by. God bless each and every one of you. Keep you happy, keep you smiling. My name is Alligator. They call me the crazy cowboy. I have no idea